It's worth it to me. It's the way I want to live my life. I want to make beautiful things, even if nobody cares.
Hi, this is Boris. Welcome to Sketchman Draw. So today I'm not going to show you how to do gesture drawing, but I'm going to motivate you to do gesture drawing.
Now let's talk about lines. So when we use a tech pen like this one, the Stadler pigment liner, you'll see that this will create like a straight line that we call a dead line with no variations at all. However, if you're using a brush, or in this case I'm using a brush pen, of course it will create a line with variations, like a more texture. We are interested in this variation because this contrast of thin to thick creates beauty. So now why is that important? Okay, so this is Will Eisner's Expressive Anatomy for Comics and Narrative, one of the best books for comic book artists. So we're going to look at skeletons because they are the basic for any human anatomy. And here in this book we have a really great introduction where it shows the proportions. And why am I showing this? Because we're going to simplify this in a really stick figure kind of way so that you'll be able to draw and demystify the process of gesture drawing. So you have the even the proportions, but for that I'll link you to another video. You'll see on the top right corner the card to get at the video about proportions. So let's see how that translates to actual application. So here I have a mannequin. It's been with me so long you even lost the other side of his limbs. So here I drew some lines just to show you that if we were going to simplify the anatomy, like that line will represent the bone. As a matter of fact, you can even make an one-to-one comparison and association with the shoulder, the elbow and the wrist. And the same thing could be done for the legs. So here we have that point which connects to the pelvis, and then we have the knee and then the ankle. So if I'm going to quickly sketch out how that would translate to if I'm trying to draw like actually a limb in movement, and the limbs move in arcs. So here I can even do this quick stick figures, and even that we don't even worry about how the hand looks like. We just draw it with a stick, sorry. And then, so here we apply that thin to thick and then thick again principle to actually, and as a matter of fact, if you really look at the anatomy, it sort of looks like that, but we are just sort of making it more obvious and to create that visually pleasing look when we draw our gesture drawings. So let's start with drawings, like start to draw from drawings, because those are like starting with training wheels, right? Because you don't have all that complex lighting and shading and the volume that you need to represent. So and also, like I said, you can like drawing from other people's drawing, which is already simplified, and put focus on the visually pleasing, can actually, you know, motivate you to draw more, because like drawing can be more what photography cannot be, right? Like, so I think you can make things more beautiful with more control in drawings than in photography, even if you have Photoshop and so on. But I think there's something that drawing offers that the photography doesn't. That's why they still cohabit, right? They still coexist. So here I started with the egg shape for the head, and then we sort of went from the neck, and then we sort of observed the the bend or the curve that the torso represents, and then we went into those sort of stick figures that I talked to you about, and then we covered those stick figures with these beautiful thin and thick variations of the anatomy, and of course simplified variations of anatomy. And we'll do the same thing for this part here. The keyword here is gesture, so this is why I chose this to shoot this video, where I show you actually the kind of gestures that, again, with keeping up with the beauty of the gesture drawing, is that even the gestures that your hand is making should actually be pleasing to watch, because that's like the way the nature has built the body is actually really fun to play around. So here I'm just going over some examples, and I wanted to show this because in the screen capture version you can't see my hands. And now let's see how these gestures that I'm talking about, that are referred to, can be seen. So with these examples, so as you can see, I'm going from the head to actually the tip of the legs, like the feet. And we'll do a video on that in the future, but it's mostly, as you might have noticed, just S curves and C curves. And also I'm trying to do this without removing my hand, especially for especially that line, I want to call it the primary line, that represents the core of the posture. And by the way, the picture here I'm using, I found it in Pinterest, so please go check that out. Okay, now that we have all that knowledge and information about how to break down the gesture, even when it comes to a picture, it will be easier for us to actually identify those patterns that we saw before. So here it's easy in digital, so you can do this also in traditionally, like you can actually print it out and draw over, like, and sort of get the feel for it. So basically what I'm doing here is what I've done in like other tutorials, which is to break it down and then build it back up in my canvas. So we have the egg-shaped head and with the neck. From the neck to the tip of the feet, and then just basically paying attention to the, like for example, if you look at her left arm, it's actually like almost like a right, like 90-degree angle. And then when it comes to limbs, I just use that thin to thick principle that we learned. But otherwise, like yeah, it's all about just keeping practicing and sort of getting used to like looking at things in a simplified way, because that's what drawing is. It's a simplification of things. So, and also like in the picture here, we're drawing static images, so we need to use everything in our power to make it dynamic. So in this case, as you see, the hair, the dress, and all this will of course be useful. And finally, I would just like to thank you for watching, and please like, share and subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave in the comment section below. But I would like to leave you with this idea, with this thought for the next time you draw. So just try to find your balance between anatomically correct and visually pleasing.
We can put that in the at the end for the like a gag reel. Okay.